Hello, authors, book lovers, and storytellers. Welcome to another Reader's Magnet featured author interview. My name is Mark, and I will be your host for today. With me is one of the Reader's Magnet featured authors that is here with us to share her journey as an author and tell us more about her book series, which is the Lyle Kent book series. We have author June A. Reynolds. Hi, June. How are you today?
I'm good.
Hey, it's really great to see you right now, June. We are so thrilled to have this author interview with you because we can't, you know, I've heard that you have four books in this Lyle Kent series, and I can't wait to talk more about those books. But before we do that, kindly introduce yourself first.
Well, my name is June A. Reynolds, and I'm from Oregon, the state of Oregon, in the Pacific Northwest. And I've spent 40 years being a teacher, librarian, and right now I'm doing a history project with the local history group. Um, and in fact, how this book series came about was because of my work at the Sherwood High School library.
All right. So basically, the book series also has something like a personal experience from you. So it's like that's inspired by your life story as well. So that's great to know, June. Now let's proceed with our author interview. Okay, so let's start with the books. Now, I want to know what the book series all about. So in this book series, you have something in the sky, land over time, river of wind, and Lyle's lyrics. There you go. Those are the books. So something in the sky. The next will be a land over time. The third book is river of wind, and the last will be Lyle's lyrics. There you go. Thank you so much for showing the books, June. Now tell us what those book series is all about.
Um, well, it started off with Something in the Sky,
Hmm.
and it's about a young man. He's about 14 years old. He's just starting high school, and he's in Phoenix, Arizona.
Hmm.
And it happens to be the year 2008, and uh, he's kind of a interesting boy because he's interested in a lot of self-reflection kinds of things. So one day he just happens to come down from a hike. He does a lot of hiking, and all of a sudden his whole house is in uproar, and
Hmm.
a number of things happen at that point in time which changes his entire life.
Hmm. All right. So basically, the book series will be talking about the story of Lyle. Am I
Correct.
right?
And so Lyle ends up going from Phoenix, Arizona,
Mm-hmm.
and with his family, his mother
Hmm.
and his brother and sister, and they end up going to a place called Land Over Time. And Land Over Time is about Oregon. So the
Mm.
transition is from the desert to the Pacific Northwest, where it rains all the time.
Mhm.
And it's rather spooky because it's the fear of the unknown for him at that point. He doesn't know what's going to happen. And
Mhm.
so that all comes about. And at this point in time, he's also finding out a little bit about the legends of Oregon, which are quite interesting.
Mhm. All right. So the next chapter or the next book will be.
And the most exciting book, amazingly enough, I had no idea when I started this. Um, River of Wind is
Mm.
when he actually gets into the fantastic world of folklore and about native legends.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets sucked up into one.
Oh.
And yeah, and so it and he accidentally, not that he really wants to at first, but he ends up getting sucked up into it with his girlfriend, and so a lot of very strange things happen out of that.
Oh, it's giving Alice in Wonderland. So I like that. I like that idea.
Yeah,
Right.
it's quite interesting, and goes along with the Atfalati Indian folklore.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's very interesting.
Mm-hmm. The next will
So
be.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so all this time, Lyle is he's writing short stories.
Mm-hmm.
Decided to get into journalism,
Mm-hmm.
and he
Uh,
does write poetry. And so the final book ended up being this book about all of the poems with the backstory about that goes in back of the poems.
mm-hmm.
So it covers all three of the other books.
Mm-hmm. So, June, your book has, I mean, what are we expecting from this book? Is this a non fictional type of book story, or like it's a fantasy, or is it just a fiction?
Well,
Please
it
help us
is
understand.
okay. It's a combination of a lot of things, but it is primarily a young adult novel
Mhm.
talking about the typical life of a teenager from 2008 until 2011. It
All right.
also has a lot of adventure.
Mm-hmm.
He does a lot of traveling, a lot of adventure.
Mm-hmm.
There's the folklore aspect that keeps
Mm-hmm.
the thread running through the whole thing. And
Mm-hmm.
then just his love of literature and what he chooses to read, what he chooses to write. Um, all of that is quite interesting too. Like I said, this is a very interesting person.
I can see
So
that.
yeah, and so like that's what got me going.
All right. Now, June, I'm wondering, tell me, what inspired you to write this book story or series? Like, among all of the, genres out there, why did you decide to like talk about Lyle or like do it this way or like write it this way? So tell us more
Yeah,
about it.
yeah. Well, I will have to admit it evolved over time,
Uh-huh.
and it just kept growing and growing,
Mm-hmm.
and it started with the fact that I actually did meet a kid from Arizona at my school.
Mm-hmm.
And the being a librarian, I'm always looking to see, well, what are kids reading, what are they interested in, and his choice of books was very, very interesting. And so then I got to know this kid, and then found out what his backstory was. And then from there, um, I don't want to write a personal book about a real person. So
Mm-hmm.
what I, so I said, well, what are the things that represent what he's going through, and what's representing and what's going on right now? And
Mm-hmm.
there is a piece in the book about bullying,
All
and
right,
there
all right. Mm-hmm.
actually was an episode of bullying that happened in our school district at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And of course,
Does
here
it
you
involve
are
the
in,
same kid? The
it did
bullying?
not. No, it
Okay.
did not. However, the aspect of bullying, um, it permeated the middle school, the high school,
Mm-hmm.
even the
Mm-hmm.
grade school.
Mm-hmm.
And so that became an aspect that I wanted to, it being fiction, right? I
Mm-hmm.
have a license to add in the actual issues that are actually going on in our world, in our little world of Sherwood, which is a little town. It's still
Mhm.
a little town with a lot of things going on, and
Mm.
that was one. And so yeah, it's in
Na
there.
mhm. Now, June, tell me, what is your target audience for this book series? And also, tell us what do you want your target audience to learn or get from this book?
Well, that's a very complex question. In
Mm-hmm.
that, uh, first of all, it is a young adult book, so I would
Mm-hmm.
think that anyone from sixth grade to 12th grade could get something out of the whole series.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, if they just read River of Wind, they would totally get what was going on. Um, and So there's a lot of things that teenagers are very concerned about. We kind of forget about it, but I mean everything, the way people treat each other, the
Mm-hmm.
climate change
Mm-hmm.
issues. What are we doing with overpopulation? All of these things, and then appreciation of nature too is another one that's pretty amazing, and kids really care about that.
Of course.
However, at the same time, uh, with the preteens and teens, even the adults like reading this book. I've had
Mm-hmm.
many people in our community who are adults that read it and they go, wow, this is a real reflection without being personal about
Mm-hmm.
what's going on. So, yeah.
Given the fact that this has a wild, vast type of topic, so therefore it will really target, the ages young adult to adult. So it's a very, very interesting book. Now, June. Now, I want to know what do you want your readers to take away after reading the book?
Well, they're going to go after all of the adventure.
Mm-hmm.
And how Lyle solves the problems that he
Mm-hmm.
gets into is pretty interesting. And he does
Mm-hmm.
rethink things over from time to time. Also, the love of literature is very important. This is
Mm-hmm.
something that, kids need to keep in. There's literature in social media, there's literature in videos and YouTube and all that. I
Yes.
understand that, but where does it come from? The other day my grandson said, well, what is this Greek story business? And I'm going, okay. So yeah, it's part of, permeates our culture, and our
Mm-hmm.
culture and our history are still very important and should be to our future generations. So I think that love of literature is important. The folklore is interesting and
Mm-hmm.
important. And of course, getting back to problem solving and adventure, and what are your attitudes? That's a good question.
Mm-hmm. Now, June, for my last question, please tell me what advice do you want to share with all of those authors or writers that wants to, write as well as you, but has no, let's say time to do so.
Well, I've been writing all my life since I was 10. So,
Wow.
um, I've written numbers and numbers of things over time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I find that keeping a journal is very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I don't write in it every day,
Mm-hmm.
but when I get an idea, I write it down in some manner and actually go back to them and read them and, you know, mine the information that's there.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty important. Um, and there is such a thing as the life of a writer. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so, whatever your goal is to write, you have to kind of framework yourself into the idea of what am I writing? Like, for example, right now I'm writing about World War II.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all facts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And but I have to framework myself to do research. I have to framework myself to go out and ask questions of people. I need to go and to the local library and look at newspapers.
Mm-hmm.
All these kinds of things. So, uh, and and it could be that you wanted to write a family story. I have friends that are writing family stories. Well, then that's your framework and that's your goal until
Mm-hmm.
you finally get it done. So yeah, all of that is really important, and you really have to keep your eyes wide open to all possibilities, and it may end up being in another story. So
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of,
Exactly.
yeah, it's kind of the
Yeah.
thing you have to do.
Exactly. So, being a writer or an author really takes a lot of dedication, and I really applaud you, all writers and authors, for sharing all your stories with us. And it's really, I can't imagine life without authors and writers. They actually give imagination and stories that we hope we can experience. But yeah, that's take a lot of dedication. I commend all of our authors out there and writers. Now we have ended. We can actually have reached the end of our author interview session, June. And for my last request, I want you to show your books and invite everyone to buy a copy of your book.
Oh, for sure. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, the joy of getting the books out is when people end up reading them and say, "Oh, that reminds me of something or other," something that they've experienced.
Right.
And oh my gosh, I've gotten some very interesting things from that. Land Over Time has a couple of pretty shocking things in it that I think will resonate with people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and of course, River of Winds, the big adventure book. You can see
Mm-hmm.
them there. They're hiking in the forest. It's very
That's
important.
June and his girlfriend, right?
Yeah, that's Lyle. Lyle and his
I mean
girlfriend.
Lyle and his
Yeah,
girlfriend.
Lyle
All
and his
right.
girlfriend Janice.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, she's really an amazing person herself. And then Lyle's lyrics. Uh, this picture is a funny cartoon. By the way, I do have a illustrator. His name is Clyde List. And
Mm.
when we did this, when we at the last moment we put in a poem, and it's about roundabouts.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know anything about roundabouts, you know what a weird situation it is to get in a roundabout. So this was
Mm.
his idea of a roundabout, and it's like a salad bowl, but it's really a road.
All
So
right,
anyway,
shout out
yeah.
to you. Uh-huh. All right, thank you so much for that, June. Okay, so that's June A. Reynolds, the author of the book series Something in the Sky, Land Over Time, River of Wind, and the last book is Lyle's Lyrics. All of the books are available on Amazon and Barnes& and Noble, and you can also visit her website. That is www.jreynoldsbooks.com to know more about her and know more about her book series. And actually, there are more book series if you want to visit her website. So you can also have a chance to buy a copy of her books on her website as well. So again, June, before we end this one, do you have any last message for our audience right now?
Um, well, I'm going to be in LA.
Oh, all right.
I'm
Yeah. So.
going to the LA book festival. I love going to book festivals because
Mm-hmm.
I end up meeting all kinds of people with all kinds of interesting ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to be cruising that book festival. And if you happen to be in
Are,
California, come and see
mhm.
me.
Are you going to have a book signing on our booth?
Yes, yes,
Oh wow! All right. Okay.
yes.
So
I'm
you.
very excited because I actually have never really been to LA. So
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be very scary for me, but I'm going to do it.
All right, so we're so excited to have you on our booth for book signing session. That will be April 20. Was that 20? Yeah, that's April 20 and 21 this 2024. So for those who wants to meet June Reynolds, the author of the book series Something in the Sky, Land Over Time, River of Wind, and Lies Lyrics, you can visit our booth. That is Readers Magnet. Okay. Again, June, I just want to thank you for attending our author interview today. We're so happy to have you here and very grateful that you chose our platform, Readers Magnet, to share your story with the world. So thank you so much, June. As I say it here, as always, we share your story with the world. Goodbye, June. Thank you so
Bye
much.
bye.